Greetings, Legionnaires, and welcome back to the Wrestling Legion Weekly Podcast. We are here, finally. Holidays are done. Everything is set. The new year is in motion, and my friends have arrived. We are joined today, of course, by the Redeemer himself. We are joined by Andy, who is very excited for another reason we will get into in a bit.
Hello.
And we are joined by the blondest man in all of creation. We are joined by the Joey Styles to my Tony Schiavone. We are joined by Simon. Simon, how the hell are you doing?
Really good.
No worries. Right, guys. First off, we've got an announcement to make.
Nick's pregnant.
No, thank God, no, that is not true. You have to lower the tone. I was excited. Things were going well. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, last year, because of this gentleman down here, we were lucky enough to attend WrestleMania 39. And again, this year, because of this gentleman down here, we are going to be able to attend WrestleMania 40. We've not been able to talk about it for a while because we were keeping it a secret from the fourth member of the Legion, Andy's son, Ashton, who will be joining us on this trip. We will be video vlogging the entire thing yet again, except this time we're going to do it properly. And it's not, I swear, just going to be me talking into a camera for 45 minutes straight. There will be actual other things. Right, guys. So are we excited? You both know that I'm... it's WrestleMania 40. It's going to be it's WrestleMania 40. So, Si, thoughts?
I first was lucky enough to go to WrestleMania in 2008 for WrestleMania 24. I told myself then it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I was 11th row for Ric Flair against HBK. The memories stay with you, you know. Last year, we were lucky enough to go again. And I straight up thought it would be the last time. Both times I've been, I thought, you know, this ain't happening again. And here we are. WrestleMania 40. Philadelphia. One last time.
Andy. Si is clearly... This means a lot to Si, just as much as it means a lot to me. To you.
Do you know what? I think for myself is last year, obviously, I kind of jumped on with yourselves a bit later on. And we wasn't in the same parts of the stadium and everything else. It was an amazing trip. You know, I always go on about just the trip as a whole. You know, there's certain parts of it, Si, there's a bit me and you standing in the garden and the play in the morning where it was just dead quiet and stuff and it was cool, and you know there's a lot of fun memories from that, but the one kind of bad memory for me was the fact that saying goodbye to you outside the turnstiles, and the fact that I actually get to be with you this year actually in the stand and in the event will make it a lot more special for me. You know, kind of sadly as well as, you know, both of you, I'm not going to go into too much detail, I've got a few health problems, may not be able to travel again, so it's like the fact that I get to go on probably my last big trip to something like that with yourselves is just an honour. You know, so, yeah.
Well, you're more than welcome, and thank you very much for joining us, Andy. I mean, me and Simon have known each other for quite a while now. For a few years, it's getting on.
I think it's 9 this year, dude.
Yeah, 9 years this year. So it's been a while now. But I mean, Andy, we've only known each other a couple of years.
3 years now.
3 years. But you fast become one of our closest friends.
Yeah.
You fast become a member of the family. The fact that I get to share this trip with you guys this year is going to be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I'll say to both of you, sorry to butt in, but I think I said this on the WrestleMania, pre-WrestleMania show last year, but when I first started getting into podcasting, it was kind of, I was going through a bit of a rut and like kind of, I don't drink no more, I don't really go out no more. To like stuff like that, and I said to a lot of my wife at the time, like if I kind of make some friends through podcasting who are like-minded wrestling fans and stuff, it'd be a really good thing. And the fact that I've made 2 friends for friggin' life, Joe, and about 3 friends for life, including your aunt, it's like, Joe, unbelievable, mate.
Yeah, it really is. But I think there's one thing that one of us especially is looking forward to, at least the possibility of it, more than anybody else. Now, everybody who knows me knows I'm a Cody Rhodes fan. But even I am going to sit here and admit, if we get the chance for something else to happen, I'm not going to complain. Andy, would you like to explain what that something else is?
I think at the moment, right, so the way I can describe this for years and years, I mean, ever since you first ever met me, all I've gone on about is the Rock at WrestleMania, whether that be, I hedged me bets on 39. I could have went to Dallas and I didn't go because I hedged me bets at the fact that I didn't think the Rock would be at Dallas. I thought he'd be at Hollywood. Didn't happen. Now I'm in a position where I think we've gone. So back in, was it December or no, it was November, wasn't it, when the Rock appeared last?
Yeah.
And the only way I can describe that is a bit of crotch rubbing. I think after day one event, the zips open, guys. It's the way that I can describe it. So I think that's where we are at the moment. I think the zips open, and there's a very big possibility that we could get the, what I'm for it.
That's very, Sai. You have said to me numerous times over the last few years, I'm not going to get excited again. I'm not going to do it.
So the past 3 WrestleManias, I've got my hopes up. I've convinced myself that The Rock is going to be there and he's going to be in the main event. 3 years in a row, it hasn't happened. So I said, didn't I, right from straight after Mania last year, like a day or 2 after, I've said, right, I'm not doing it again. Next year, I'm not going to get myself all excited just to be disappointed. And it turns out it might actually be happening this year. So, I'm excited about it, but I am also sticking to my guns. And when I'm sat in that stadium and the Rock's music hits, that is when I will allow myself to believe it.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
So can I just say, actually, I forgot about Friday night. So obviously Sunday night, we watched Friday Night SmackDown. And I think after the announcement of the Fatal 4-Way, I think the penis left the trousers. I don't think we're still not quite there, but I think we did actually get, we've got in stages here. I think we've had the rub, the zip, and the flop, and we still got a bit to go now. But for every week that goes past now, I think we're getting closer and closer to it.
Right, one, you're going to get us demonetized before we even get monetized.
I didn't say anything. I've kept it very clean. I have,
The term going in dry was never mentioned. So,
All right, but I just want to bring up a side subject on this, guys, because I know you've both probably got an opinion on it. For me, and I know Sai agrees with me on this, Cody Rhodes' story in WWE is not beating Roman Reigns. It's winning the WWE Championship. It's winning the belt his father never won. Doesn't matter who the champion is. And personally, I believe there is a better story to be told with Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes than there is with Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Would either of you agree, disagree?
Well, I'm going to go first on this, so I'm going to go back and snip, and I will play it near the time of WrestleMania of when I actually said that he should be facing Randy. I think after last year and the way that Roman was Cody was shoehorned into Roman 30 in the Rumble, win it, bang, and then it was just he's just his son. Just he's his dad, and that was kind of the story, and blah 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 blah. Wasn't very good. Now, I think with the whole Randy Orton story, there's a big complex story there that you can get old vignettes, you can get old clips, you can do there's a big story there to tell, which could potentially lead to to Cody winning at WrestleMania. But for me, I think after last year and the way it went, I feel like that's the story that needs to be told because it's a real complex story.
Simon, you even put polls out on Twitter, and sorry, I'm not calling it X. I refuse to. You even put polls out on Twitter about this stuff.
Yeah.
don't you think it's a bit hypocritical that a lot of the IWC tribalists who were bagging on Cody for being exactly as Andy said, inserted in the main event last year, are now screaming on and complaining because the biggest star in the history of professional wrestling might come back and do a main event at WrestleMania?
So, in all my years as a member of the IWC since 1995, probably one of the first few thousand people that can say that. I think what I've learned over these years is if the community that we've got with wrestling on the internet, just like a lot of other communities, if they can disagree about something, argue about something, turn something into a negative, tribalize something, they will do it 100% of the time. And I think at times we're all guilty of that, even if it's a little bit. But you can't please every fan all of the time. Literally, every fan out there, including the three of us, has probably got like a different picture in our heads of what the perfect card is going to be. What matches do we want to see? You can't please everyone. All we've got to do is accept what happens and make most out of it. There are people that want CM Punk in the main event. There are people that think that now The Rock's back, CM Punk is going to miss out for the second time in 10 years because of The Rock. There are people that want Cody in the main event. There are people that want The Rock in the main event. There are people that want Cody to finish his story by beating Roman. There are people that want Cody to finish his story by winning a world title. You literally cannot please everyone. I think it's a good thing sometimes that it's a melting pot, but in terms of tribalism, I think we've all had more than enough of it, haven't we?
I think a lot of it as well is at the end of the day, WWE will please their own bank balance.
They'll do what's best for business, which is a success.
Yeah, which this time actually plays into my hands, so hey.
Yeah. And there'll be people last year that were kind of worried The Rock had come back and were probably quite happy that it ended up being Cody. And, if you wait long enough, you're going to get what you want to see. This year, I think it's The Rock. I think the majority of people that are criticizing it on that platform that I won't say the name of,
Twitter.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to detract from the Fed, just the same as that works the other way. It's a big WrestleMania. It's going to be a great one. On paper, some of the options we got this year are bigger than I can remember.
Can I just ask you, right? Everyone thought that Cody was going to come back. He was going to headline WrestleMania and he was going to beat Roman, which didn't happen. Now, do you think CM Punk is a shoo-in for WrestleMania headline? Or do you think that even Punk would potentially agree of, no, let's do it next year?
No, I think the fact that Punk came back right at the end of Survivor Series, it was like a Ronda Rousey debut after Oscar had won the Rumble. It was the go-home image was Punk. And if they didn't have big plans for him through the Rumble and WrestleMania, they wouldn't have closed the show with him coming out.
That's a fair point. And we all know that realistically, the one thing Phil wanted from WWE was a WrestleMania main event.
Well,
that's why I'm saying, because he wants the money. But he does want the main event. But I feel like, that's what people expect him to have. And if they kind of diverted that and they made a storyline over him kicking off for the next year, that he didn't get the main event.
Well,
this is another common
argument. It's a two-night WrestleMania. So
the main event,
Punk can get his main event.
The main event, in my opinion, is not just the last match on the show. You go way back and you watch WrestleMania 8, and Vince McMahon on the intro clearly says it's a double main event, even though it was a one-night show. And you can have, I think there's been a WrestleMania with 4 main events before now. You can do it. It doesn't have to be the last match on the show. There's feature matches. You can get 4 matches, 2 on each night, and call them main events. You can keep everyone happy.
It's one of them. Do you want to have that last vision of, say, night 1 to be CM Punk if he wins the belt, which I don't think is the right move at this specific time? Or do you have Cody with the confetti and everything else after he beats Randy?
I think it's going to be Cody.
Yeah. It does, unfortunately.
I think you've got to end.
There is another option, which I don't think we'd ever see, but is that Roman Reigns works both nights. Beats The Rock on the first night, and I know you're not going to like this, Andy, but smashes The Rock on the first night, decimates him. That's what he needs to do if they do a 2-night build.
He's not going to
destroy The Rock in his first match, and then lose to Cody the next night.
Anyone that's watched this for a while knows that I'm always comparing Cody's run with the Americana and everything to the Lex Express with the Rumble win and the failed title shot. Well, it carries on, doesn't it? Because if they do Roman fighting both nights, it's back to WrestleMania 10, which was Lex challenging in Cody's position. But if that happens, Cody's got to challenge first. Otherwise, he's not Lex Luger anymore. And then we won't be happy.
Yeah.
You won't be happy. Right, gents, moving on. It's a bit late for us, but it's time for us to do one. Happy New Year to all the Legion. Thanks for all the support in the last 12 months. I know we haven't been that reliable, but we've all been going through a lot of stuff. That stuff is starting to get resolved, and this year we promised that we're going to be putting out more content. We're going to be streamlining the channel. We're going to be making sure that you get entertained, because that's what we're trying to do. But moving on. Happy New Year, gents. And it is time for our year-end awards.
Ooh.
So, and I didn't get right. I'm still learning how to do everything on a computer, Andy. So no, I could not make any banner or.
Whoa. I only came on here to see the fancy graphics. Where's the fancy graphics, man?
Sorry, there are no fancy graphics.
No fancy graphics.
None whatsoever.
Then we're going to have to make up for it with really interesting opinions, right?
Yes. This is a challenge, I'm aware. But I'm sure one of us can do it anyway. It's not me, but I'm sure one of us can. Okay, gents, so we're going to start this off with... I've got them all written down in the comments, but I'm just going to go in a random order that leads to eventually the one that I think should be the final one. All right, so we are going to start off with, I think, in a 2-horse race. In most people's opinions, we're going to start off with Heel of the Year, gents. Simon?
The way I look at this, the Heel of the Year is the person who is booed the loudest, the most consistently. And there's only one name. You can argue with the people, Sammy Guevara, Roman Reigns, but it's my boy, Dominic Mysterio. He lifts his microphone to his mouth this past few months on Raw, and it's deafening. The detractors will try and say, "Oh, that noise is piped in." It's not. The boy is so over as a heel. There's no way you can give it to anybody else.
Well, I disagree. And strangely enough, I'm afraid.
Andy,
because I believe there is only one person this year that we can consider for Heel of the Year, even though it is technically a 2-horse race. Dom is the other horse. He's the losing horse, because the winner, in my opinion, is Christian Cage. Christian Cage has done more despicable things and said more despicable things than anyone in professional wrestling in the last 12 months. He is on the heel run of his lifetime. His work is, he's even making Adam Copeland without the Edge character entertaining, and that is hard to do. It's Christian for me. Andy, who's your
for me? Vince McMahon. No, but Vince McMahon. Well, he made a comeback in January. He sacked his daughter, had to sell his company, but then it went all downhill for him. So, if he would have carried that on and being a creative now, he would definitely be in Heel of the Year. No, I agree with Cy Tom. I think Christian was very, very good, but I feel like Christian does a lot of forced heel work. I think Don is very, very good with his mannerisms and the way that he just does things to annoy people. And I feel like if he can do that with, I mean, he talks on the mic a little bit, but for somebody to get that type of heat just by some of the smirks he does and some of the little bits he does, for me, he's just, it's really, really good.
Well, in that case, we are a democratic society here at the Wrestling Legion. And as it's 2 versus 1, the Wrestling Legion heel of the year is Dominic Mysterio.
Just imagine the fancy graphic. And,
yeah, we'll do that next year.
Promise you, in a year, there'll be graphics. They might not be fancy, but there'll be graphics. Next year, there will be graphics. We'll record this ahead of time and edit it. Andy will edit it and everything. Next up, gents, flip side of the coin. Who is your babyface of the year? I'm going to go last because everyone knows my answer already. So, Andy, who is your babyface of the year?
LA Knight.
Yeah.
Mate, I was in London for Money in the Bank. I was very lucky to be. And I was literally standing on Oxford Street, which was about 5 or 6 miles away from the O2. I was standing on London Bridge, and just wherever you went, all you could hear was, just randomly, just wherever you were. And the absolute, I mean, Cody got a pop, but LA Knight got the pop on where my ears were ringing. It was unbelievable. Every time he comes out, the crowd just go nuts.
Simon, babyface of the year.
I agree with Andy to a certain extent. But I think LA Knight maybe just took the last 4 or 5 months of the year. The first 6 months, he was up there. We wanted him to be up there, but he didn't get, we didn't get what we wanted. The push was slow. It was, he lost to The Fiend back at the Rumble, and he didn't even appear at WrestleMania, which was a travesty. Otherwise, I'd give him the nod. But for me, looking at consistency, someone who's been a face for the entire year, probably closed Raw more than anybody else. I'm not sure, but, if there's any statisticians out there, they can let us know. I'm giving it to Cody.
See, I didn't think Cody had a good back end of the year, and that's where I kind of went with it.
Fair. Recency bias, that man.
Well, if we didn't know, I'm wearing the T-shirt. I agree with Simon.
Yeah, there we go. Putin democracy.
Excuse me. When your guy wins, it's democracy, but when I win, it's communist. I will have none of this. I am an anti-politist. I don't believe in politics, any kind. Politics are
that's
thing.
That's what Saddam Hussein said, mate. That's why he doesn't have elections.
No.
Not even fake ones.
Elections are fine. Politics are a different matter. Anyway. So, I agree with Simon. I think Cody has been the most consistent babyface in wrestling this year. He gets a massive pop in every single town he goes to. He's over with the crowd. His work's over with the crowd. His song is over with the crowd. And it's not just like Seth, where the song is more over than he is. It's actual big. It's Cody is the number one babyface in wrestling for me right now. And I'll give LA Knight number 2. I will. And then MJF would be number 3.
Just a kind of honorable mention from me as well. Just for the first 3 months of the year, I definitely think that Sammy was up there. He was way up there.
Yeah.
At the start of the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he kind of petered off. Yeah.
This is true. Right. So by democratic regime, sorry, Andy, Cody Rhodes is our babyface of the year. Right. Moving on. Right, gents, I think this may be a first time we all agree. Faction of the year, gentlemen. Simon?
There's a few that spring to mind. You would have to be, even though it is marginally at some point turned into NWO Black and Red, I think you would have to be lying to yourself to not give this to the Bloodline. I don't think they finished the last 6 months as strongly as they could, but 100% from me.
Andy?
For me, I'm sorry, I'm going to go Judgment Day. I feel like they had all the belts at one point. They won every belt. They were a presence on every single show. They were constantly there, constantly working, all of them. For me, it was Judgment Day.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with Andy. Because, as you say, the bloodline has dipped, especially in the last 6 months, whereas the Judgment Day has stayed solid. There's been little threads of them possibly splitting the group up because WWE love to split up factions and tag teams. But Judgment Day have been consistent and solid throughout the year. As Andy said, they won all the titles at one point. I think everything they do is entertaining. They effectively have a female leader, which is very rare in WWE. Because Rhea kind of is the leader of Judgment Day, even though there are no leaders in Judgment Day. So, yeah, our faction of the year, gentlemen, is the Judgment Day. Massive applause, fireworks, things. Just picture it, people. It'll be there in a year.
Fancy graphics.
Okay, and on to category. Now, this, I think, it's quite a difficult one this year. Manager of the year, gentlemen. I'm going to go first. Prince Nana.
Okay.
No, see, I knew you were both going to give me this look.
Can you justify why you think it's Prince Nana?
Yes.
Okay.
At least I'm going to try. I'm going to try. Okay. A manager is judged arguably by the success of their client. Now, the obvious answer for this question would have been Paul Heyman, because Roman Reigns has been WWE Universal Champion for 1,273 days or something like that at this point. Shut up, phone. Sorry, should have put that on silent. But the reason I think it's Prince Nana is because, as I said, it is judged on the success of one's clientele. Who, in AEW especially this year, has been more successful than Swerve Strickland?
MJF.
MJF was already at the top.
Yeah, you said who's been more successful this year than Swerve Strickland?
Yeah, I know. I should have worded the question better.
Okay.
Who has progressed more and bettered themselves more in their standing and position in the company more than Swerve Strickland?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. In AEW, yeah, okay.
Now, I know that one of the other reasons the crowd like Nana is that bloody awful dance that he does. It's annoying as hell, but he's very much an old school manager in the way his character is, and I appreciate that. He reminds me of like someone from the 90s, around about 1992, 93, when WWE was really starting to take a dive, and that's nostalgic for me, and that's one of the reasons. And also, the main reason I'm picking Prince Nana is didn't all three of us say Paul Heyman?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
So I've got to say to you.
Andy,
manager of the year.
Can I just ask, are you okay, Nick?
I'm fine. Well, you're going to say Paul Heyman, right?
No, Nick, a twist. No, do you know what? I'm kind of a little bit torn with this one, because we've got Paul Heyman, who's amazing, but we've also got Don Callis, who's amazing. So it's kind of like, which one do you go for? Paul's had a good year. Paul always has a good year. He comes out and says stuff. The only kind of thing I've got to say about Paul this year that I didn't like was the Islands of Relevancy that he just keeps going on about and on about. I think he needs to change his promos up a little bit. I feel like some of his promos are kind of becoming the same, which is not like Paul. So I'm going to go with Don Callis. Or forever Cyrus the Virus.
It will always be Cyrus. Always. Simon, who is your manager of the year?
Well, it kind of messes up a democratic result if I disagree with both of you.
We'll have to go for re-election, that's all.
But I'm going to disagree with both of you. Yeah, you've got to look at the success of the clients. You've got to look at the TV appearances, the crowd reactions, the other interactions you get, backstage shows, things like that. It's without a doubt Paul Heyman. I think he's even surpassed Bobby Heenan now. A lot of people forget that Heyman's been around since he managed Steve Austin and Rick Rude, and that's 30 years ago, 32, 33 years ago. Yeah, nobody's beating him this year. He's consistently on top.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'll agree with Si on that one, but the only thing I will say is I don't agree with you on Bobby Heenan, because I thought Bobby Heenan had some piles of turds under his finger and he still got them over, where I don't think Heyman's ever had anything. Like when he tried Cesaro, he couldn't do it with Cesaro.
True.
It's a fair point.
Yeah.
Right. So we have a three-way, we have a three-way, gents. Now, what do we do to make it?
Also, can I just say that Dale's just messaged me saying, is Nick sick?
I am not Dale. Well, no more than normal, no.
I think he's got a high yah-yah.
I'm going down to someone to buy something, but it's not going to happen. Right.
Yeah, look at
moving on, gents. So, how do we decide our manager of the
Dale agrees with myself because he says Don Callis, look at Takeshita's year.
There we go. Don
right,
Callis.
Well, there we go. Dale, you are now officially our tiebreaker. And Dale, you're the tiebreaker from now on. If we have a tie, we end up going for Dale, and that's what we are. So officially, this year's manager of the year is Don Cyrus the Virus Callis. A little sidebar question for you, gents. Who else is going to join the Don Callis family? There's still 3 faces left on that painting.
Jack Perry.
Ooh.
Tom Lawler.
Ooh, I like it. I'm going to go for the easy one, and Doug Ziller, the other half of Aussie Open. Right, now, moving on to where should we go next? I know, we will go to a category that I think we might actually all agree on. Breakout Superstar / Wrestler of the Year. Andy, you're up first.
Okay, so this one I thought about a lot today. So my first thought was LA Knight.
Yeah.
But again, I think Syed the nail on the head before. His first 6 months were not great. And it was only after that he come back. So for me, the standout breakout star for this year is Dom Mysterio. I thought he had a good last year, but this year he's been trusted a lot as well. So he was trusted with Cody at Money in the Bank. He's been trusted with Punk's first match. Randy's first match back. He's done some really solid work as he's going along. He won the North American Championship. For me, it's Dom Mysterio, mate. I think if you look at it from January to December, full year, I don't think anybody else has had such a good year as he has.
No, fair enough. Simon, who is your breakout superstar of the year?
I get what you're saying, Andy, but for me, the first part of the year that held LA Knight back, it wasn't because he was doing anything wrong. It was just because they weren't quick enough to pull the trigger. They kind of waited until there was a slot for him instead of creating one for him like he deserved. I think all year we've been to a few live shows this year, and whether he's even on the card or not, he's been the most over thing in a lot of the buildings we've been to. It's got to be LA Knight for me. And Dom is my boy, so it pains me to say it, but LA Knight.
Right, well, I've got to disagree. I honestly thought we might have all agreed, but no.
God, you're going to come out with some mad Japanese.
No, I'm not going to
Puppet
come out
on
with
Taneshi or
some
something,
mad
aren't you?
freaking indie star or anything like that. I am simply going to say Swerve Strickland is the breakout star of the year. You can disagree all you like, but he was going nowhere. Then all of a sudden, they pulled the trigger. He's had banger match after banger match. His storylines have all been engaging. His performances have been fantastic in all of his matches. His promos have been great. That segment he did going into Hangman Page's kids' room was one of the most sinister things I've ever seen in professional wrestling. It was amazingly done. Swerve Strickland has gone from a B-plus player to a main eventer in the space of 9 months.
What's the main event?
No, I said a main eventer. He's going to get a main event.
To be a main event, yeah, but that's to be a main eventer, you have to main event.
Well, that Texas Death Match was one of the main events of the show.
But he didn't main event it. He hasn't main evented yet. He may be the breakout next year, but I think he's in the same category as Dom, where the last 2022 he wasn't, he was getting there, but he wasn't quite there. And this year he's had a really good year. I don't think I disagree. I see where you come from, and I think he's done really well, but I don't think we're at that point with him yet.
Well, I strongly disagree, because for me, Swerve is definitely the breakout star of the year. From where he's gone in the company to where he is in the company now.
Well, it's not hard though, is it? In that company,
turbulent ass times, is very impressive. Especially when you work for Tony Khan, who doesn't know his arsehole from his elbow when it comes to wrestling.
Sales just thought Daniel Garcia has made events 9,367 dynamites.
Right. So, Dale, who is it, mate? Is it Swerve? Is it Dom? Or is it LA Knight?
He hasn't put anything yet.
Right, well, while we wait for that, gentlemen, justify your cases.
As I said, I think I totally agree with Si. I think LA Knight was there, he was present. It's just, for me, I don't know whether I just had a bit too much time to think about it this year, but it was just from January to December. Over the whole year, I just felt like he achieved more. I can't believe you said Swerve, you virgin. I thought we were meant to be brothers, and you just go against me like that.
That's because Dale has taste, Andy, and he understands where I'm coming from. And he says he's going to explain. So, there we go. That is the market of merchandise harder. Yeah, it should be easier just to do this.
Is that the choice, or are we building?
No, there's
no. Yeah, he said that Swerve has been erosion of value weeds. Okay, so it's Swerve Strickland then, isn't it?
Swerve it is.
Swerve Strickland is our breakout star of the year.
Okay. Thanks for that, Dale.
Right, gents. Next, now, finally, if we're all on the same page, I think we might actually all agree. Rookie of the year, Simon.
This is one that I've thought about quite a lot today. And for me, there's not a lot of choices. The criteria in my head is it's got to be somebody who's wrestled kind of for the first time this year. And I've never even thought about giving it to a celebrity before. But the person who's debuted this past year and put on consistently fantastic performances, better than we've imagined, it's Logan Paul. Sorry.
You don't need to apologize, mate. I hate Logan Paul. I think Logan Paul is an arse among arses.
Say what you really mean. Dude.
No, I will. But he does make a very nice tasting lemonade. And when it comes to professional wrestling, the guy's got it. Like, he gets it. And he's got it very quickly, and that's very hard to do. at the end of the day, he's been in there with Roman. The company trusted him enough and thought he was a big enough deal to put him in the ring with Roman Reigns. We all knew he wasn't going to win, but they still put him in there with the biggest dog in the yard, with the guy, the biggest star in the industry. He was trusted with that. I completely agree with Simon. It's Logan Paul. Andy?
Yep, I agree. It's Logan Paul, 110%. I think he's done brilliantly. The other bit as well with Ray. I know people will turn around and say that he should have been in that position, but we've seen Ray do that before when he gets a bit too far. And even though, it's all right saying he wasn't in the position, but he realised it and he corrected it and he saved Ray. So, that to show that level of maturity in a very, very infant career was just amazing.
Yes. It was. Dale has a question for us all. Would you say that the matches he has had has created the most overachieving moments of the year? If not, then who?
That's actually the word I was looking for about Logan Paul is he's overachieved consistently.
Yes. I completely agree.
Yeah, but I'd say Dale. I said he probably has had the most overachieving moments of the year.
Well, he's US champ for pity's sake.
Can I just give as well one of the probably most overachieving moments of the year, if you want to give something a bit different than that, was the tag match at WrestleMania. Not the main event one. That it was at the Fatal 4-Way that was just randomly in there. That was an absolute banger of a match that was never meant to be, and it was thoroughly enjoyable.
It was incredible. They were flipping and flying all over the place in that thing. It was fantastic. Right, where are we, gents? Okay, now, bit of a tricky one. Ooh. Feud of the year. I'm going to go first. CM Punk versus AEW.
Are we allowed?
Brother went mad at me before. Said you can't have that. It's not a feud. It's not a wrestling feud. I don't care. I'm having it. What caused more wrestling news this year than CM Punk versus AEW? Last year than CM Punk versus AEW.
Okay,
there was nothing that was in the headlines more than CM Punk versus AEW. Absolutely nothing.
I mean, if you want to make it more wrestle-centric, you could say CM Punk versus the Elite.
Okay, I'll say CM Punk versus the Elite.
Jericho versus NDAs, Dale's just put. Vince McMahon versus the SEC.
Oh, nice.
That could be one.
Right, so that is my CM Punk versus AEW. I don't even think I have to justify it because it created more headlines than anything in wrestling in the last 12 months. So, Simon, feud of the year.
I'll let Andy go first because I'm not actually 100% sure on this yet.
I'm going to go for mine. Is going to be because it was something that exhilarated me a lot, really interested me, and it was over in the first quarter, unfortunately, but it was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. But the Royal Rumble match, the Sami turn, the Sami Roman match, and then on to WrestleMania. I just thought it was really good, a little story.
No, it was. It was really good. It was a fantastic bit of storytelling. Si, got a pressure here.
In terms of intensity and the quality of the matches, this might surprise you, Nick, because I don't often go to that side of the playground, but I'm going to give it to Swerve and Hangman.
Oh, nice choice.
It's had longevity. They keep going back to it. The matches are great. Everything you want from a feud. It reminds me a lot of DDP and Randy Savage back in the day.
Good comparison. I like that comparison. That's very good. Dale, got a three-way. It's up to you, my friend.
It's not good.
Is it CM Punk versus AEW? Is it Hangman and Page versus Swerve? Or is it the Bloodline versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens?
It was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. No, Sami versus the Bloodline and Kevin Owens.
Sorry.
It's okay. Now you've apologized to heel.
I ate some special brownies like an hour ago. So
yeah, Bloodline versus Zayn. He went with whoosh.
There we go. Our feud of the year is Bloodline versus Zayn and Owens. Congratulations there, Andy.
Okay.
Right. Now into the big ones, lads. Here we are. We're starting the big awards. We are going with Tag Team of the Year. Simon, you look quizzical. I'm going to go to you first.
Yeah. I think for me, there's only one team that really stands out. Again, consistency of performances, just that real dynamic as a team, and it's FTR.
Andy?
Yeah, I agree with him. I think it's been a really poor year for tag teams in general. I don't think it's been a great year for tag teams at all. After the Usos lost the championship and split up, Judgment Day have had it, but it's been more of a side of things. And then you had the old Cole and MJF thing, which didn't go for a thing. But yes, I think same as what Sai says, if you're looking for just consistency and constantly being there and just putting on banger after banger, I think you have to go to FTR, because that they're the ones that for me are just epitome of what tag team should be.
Well, I'm going to completely agree with you both. Finally, we got what we agreed on. Just based alone on the 59-minute match they had with Jay White and Juice Robinson on Collision a few months ago, that alone for me put them ahead as Tag Team of the Year. If you include the way they closed out 2022 and the title run, multiple title runs that they've had, gained and lost, there hasn't been a team in wrestling that has represented tag team wrestling as well as FTR, I think, anyway. They really show you what it means to be a tag team in pro wrestling. And I appreciate that, especially in a modern day when tag team wrestling has kind of lost its way a little bit in a large portion of the wrestling landscape. Okay, so our tag team of the year is FTR. Happy days. Right, lads. Now it's on to the big three.
Sorry, Dale says, I will go with FTR because working with the House of Black deserves a raise. Bloody King looks like a melted graffiti on a broken building.
Leave Brody alone, Dale. Brody's good. All right, we're on to the big three, gents. And we are going to go with, first off, well, technically the big four, because one of them is a two-part question, which we're going to do now. Wrestler of the Year, male and female.
Okay. Male for me,
first.
MJF. I think he's had a great year, had some great matches, holded AEW together when it needed it. Just fantastic. Fantastic.
Simon, male wrestler of the year.
Okada. From last January at Wrestle Kingdom against Ospreay, through to carrying the 6-man tag division with banger after banger, one of which I was privileged enough to see live, to his recent match with Danielson, if that even counts as the last 12 months. He's consistently the best. I don't think anyone can come near him at the minute.
Fine choices, gentlemen. Both absolutely wrong. Correct answer is Will Ospreay. Look at the wrestling history of this year, the last 12 months. If you look just at our dear friend Dave Meltzer's 5-star rating, it's basically Will Ospreay versus this year. All of those five, I don't agree with Dave's 5-star bullshit, but
just one man's
going to have to cite it because
you had me until you mentioned Dave Meltzer.
No. I'm sorry. It's Will Ospreay. Look at his back catalogue of the last 12 months. Every single match he's had is a 5-star banger. Every single one. I haven't watched his match from Wrestle Kingdom yet. No spoilers, please. But I imagine that's going to be the best match in the show. His match versus Speedball Mike Bailey at Bound for Glory. 5-star banger. His match at Forbidden Door versus Kenny Omega. 5-star banger. His match at Wrestle Kingdom versus Kenny Omega. 5-star banger. His match of the pay-per-view after against Okada. 5-star banger. His match at the G1 against Tetsuya Naito. 5-star banger. And it goes on and on. His match against Shingo at Rev Pro. Absolute banger. Will Ospreay has had the best record of matches in the last 12 months. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is what determines Wrestler of the Year, is how good you are. And Will Ospreay has proved that he is better than 90% of the best in the last 12 months. But that leaves us with a tie, yet again.
Dale.
So, Dale.
He's put Damian Priest.
Well, that doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't help. You've got either Ospreay, Okada, or MJF.
Come on, Dale. You're required.
Come on, Dale.
While we're waiting for our answer, I'd just like to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy the content that we put out, if you enjoy anything we do here at the Wrestling Legion, please subscribe to the channel and join the Legion. It's free. It really helps us out. It's the only way the YouTube algorithm knows that we exist. So, and I just want to say thank you to anyone that tunes in, Dale, everyone else that tunes in and watches our little show, because we just do this to keep ourselves sane. And it's really nice to know that there are people out there who at least find what we say semi-interesting. So, thank you. Okay, Dale. Dale is gone with MJF.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't we think Priest? So, first off, congratulations, MJF. You are the Wrestling Legion Male Wrestler of the Year. Jets, why not Damian Priest?
If you were to ask me what was the best Damian Priest match of the year, I wouldn't be able to give you an answer. There's been nothing standout, nothing memorable. He's consistently good. You know, I might put him in my top 10. But there's nothing memorable for me.
Well, the reason he's not the Wrestler of the Year for me is because the only memorable thing he did was wrestle Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico. And the most memorable thing about that was the crowd. I love Damian Priest. I've said many a time he could be the next Undertaker. And I don't mean a character like the Undertaker before you start to assassinate me in the comments. I mean the position in the company that the Undertaker held is a position that I believe Damian Priest would hold very, very well.
Yeah, he also won Money in the Bank as well, as Dale says. Yes,
he did. Fine wrestler, but not my Wrestler of the Year. Andy, why not Damian Priest?
Just the same. I just think MJF's had a better year on him.
Fair enough. Okay. Right, gentlemen. Female Wrestler of the Year. Now, I'm going to go first. She is timeless. She is wonderful. She is a fantastic person. I've met her a couple of times. I'd love to meet her now under a new gimmick. But Toni Storm is my female Wrestler of the Year. She has been the shining light of AEW for the past several months. It's the one thing that is consistently great on television. She's consistently entertaining. She's funny. She's got timing. She's fantastic in the ring. For me, it's Toni Storm. Simon?
I agree with everything you just said, but I'm not going to give it to Toni Storm. I think character-wise, she's had the most improvement possibly of anyone in any company. You know, it's not often you get the perfect shaped peg to go in the perfect shaped hole. No euphemism intended. But they've done it with Toni. You know, this character was made for her. But I'm not giving it to Toni Storm. I'm going to give it to somebody who I believe has been underrated the whole year. And I'm going to give it to Io Shirai.
Ooh.
Because she's been women's champion for a few months now and still never really gets a mention. You know, Ripley's been great. There's other women in the company that have been great. But Io has been a real workhorse for the entire year. And that's why I'm giving it to her.
Nice. Okay, I like that. Andy, female wrestler of the year.
Did you think I was going to say Meiko Satomura?
Right, muted. What is it? Muted. You're officially muted.
Definitely Miko.
Muted.
She deserves it, Miko. No, I'm going to go with Sai, to be honest with you. I think Io's had a really good year. Probably the best you know, she's competed a lot. The storyline with the whole Kylie coming back and everything else, I think it's just really, really good storytelling, and she's been front and center. I think the other one for me is Rhea. Is very, very close to it. I think she's had a banger year. The only thing with Rhea is I would have liked to have seen her wrestle more. That was the only thing that stopped her from getting it.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. Right. Well, nice and simple. Wrestling Legion Female Wrestler of the Year is Io Shirai. Io Sky. Can you prefer?
Whichever. Yeah.
Right, gents. 2 left. We'll do these in an order you might find weird. Match of the Year. This is a difficult one because 2023 was a year of bangers. There were so many great matches in 2023. And I know everybody out there is thinking he's going to pick a Will Ospreay match. No, I'm not, because I'm going to start this off. And I'm going to pick from AEW Forbidden Door, Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. Everybody knows that I love technical wrestling. There is no finer example of technical wrestling, both British and Japanese style mixed with American style, than we saw from Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. at Forbidden Door. It was an absolute clinic. The match was thoroughly entertaining. I adored everything about this match, except for that little coward Danielson winning with a knee. But it was perfect. You don't often find 2 wrestlers who have that kind of chemistry to tell a story the way they told it. So, look at him. You see, I'm going to meet you again in a bit. That's what I want.
Just before we move on, Dale says, why should we care about Bryan Danielson?
I don't care if you care about Bryan Danielson, but you should care about Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr. is the finest technical wrestler that has ever graced God's green earth, and he's English. Because we're better than you, Dale, and we know it.
He's not the best there is, the best there was, or the best there ever will be.
That guy's right.
I'm sorry, but you put Bret Hart in a ring with Zack Sabre Jr., and Zack Sabre Jr. ties him in knots.
Yes.
Doesn't come close.
We agree to disagree, gentlemen. Okay, so that is my match of the year. And my little rant about it. Andy.
Okay.
Do you know, for me, right, obviously this one's always going to be different for everyone because it's a personal choice. Mine, believe it or not, was the WrestleMania match between Sheamus, Gunther, and Drew McIntyre.
Fantastic triple threat.
Absolutely fantastic match. They just beat the shit out of each other. Even the finish with the powerbomb onto Drew was just fantastic. It was just a great match.
This is also true. And I can't really argue because we were there for that. And you could hear the chops echo through that arena. It was ridiculous. They beat the shit out of each other. Right, Simon, match of the year, please.
Weirdly, I don't know. Maybe it's just my mood, but I'm not going to go for the 5-star classic that you argued, Nick, even though that was a great match. I'm going to be swayed by a match that I saw live that literally got me off my seat, made me angry for a full 24 hours afterwards. Got over 1,000 views with my reaction to it on TikTok. Nothing else has got me so heated. Dominic versus Ray at WrestleMania. It got me. It really got me. And it might not have been technically the best, might not have had the best story, might not have had the best finish, might not be the most memorable, but it was real to me, damn it.
Yeah, and it's a personal choice, as we say.
Yes, and that's what matters. Right, Dale, you're up again, my friend. Is it Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson? Is it Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania 39? Or is it Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 30?
Tails put, I'm going with the wild card match when Did got eliminated and then powerbombed and his teammates HBK out of frustration. Wait, what year is it?
It's a 4-way tie.
Right, there's enough of your nonsense. I'm trying to run a serious show here, and you have been roped in. Thank you.
Oh,
no. No.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You're not helping.
Yeah. The 4-way.
Come on, Dale. This is match. Yeah, here we go.
He's going to go to triple threat.
There we go. So we're going with Drew McIntyre versus the Ring General Gunther.
It was a great match. It was a banger of a match. You know, I thought Sheamus and Gunther had a really good match at Clash of the Castle as well the year before. Yes, but you know, I thought and to be honest, seeing that match, I was kind of worried that we were just going to get the same match. But inserting Drew into there, give it a new level, and really did help it.
Yeah.
Okay, gents.
Time.
Last award. It's time. The reason I did this one last is because it is the most overarching award. Who is your promotion of the year?
Very easy, that one this year.
I think it is as well. But let's just see if we have a difference of opinion. Andy, who is your promotion of the year?
GCW. No, WWE. Do you know what? Right? I am a WWE guy. I don't try and mess around with that. But for this year, it's you know, it really, really was their year. They really had a cracking year. From the Royal Rumble, set the tone. I thought they got the Royal Rumble men's match wrong, not because it was Cody, but where they placed them. But apart from that, after that, they just gained more and more and more momentum as they went on through the year.
Yeah. Right. I can't really argue with that. Simon?
When I look at this to justify it, I look at who's made the most money, who gets the most eyes on the prize. It's WWE.
And I'm going to surprise you both by agreeing with you both completely. I've got no random indie company. I've got no random company out of Japan. I've got no random company from the middle of Austria. This year, the promotion of the year, simply from a booking standpoint alone to a financial standpoint, to everything they've achieved with the merger, the sale of the company, the amount they've made, to finally putting Vince out to pasture and saving us all from that crazy old bastard. It's WWE. Like, they have done more. I, as you know, got a bit fed up with WWE a couple of years ago because it was very predictable and it was just anger inducing. Now I enjoy watching the show. It makes me smile again. And that's what wrestling's supposed to do. So yeah, it's WWE. Awesome. But on that note, gentlemen, we must bid them adieu. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the show. I've been Nick the Geek. If you would like to join me here again, if you find what we do entertaining, come back on the 18th of January when I will have episode 3 of Wrestling With Your Thoughts, when Mighty Laws takes on Mr. Devin Andrews. It's going to be a good show. They're going to be rebooking Heatwave 98, Bad Blood 97, and the first episode of WWECW on Sci-Fi. It should be entertaining. It should be fun. And I'm going to try and keep it to just under 2 hours this time. Again, which I managed last time, so I can manage it this time. That's where you'll find me. Guys, anything you want to plug?
No. Come back and watch us again next week and then watch next show.
I just want to hit my tagline. Yeah. This is
right. Well, in the meantime, remember, ladies and gents, we are just 3 geeks obsessed with a good show, and our opinion means nothing without yours in the comments below. So I've been Nick the Geek. He's been Andy. He's been Simon. See you next week.
Wrestling Legion. We make it make sense.